15, I started smoking weed, tried cocaine. About 6:30 in the morning, I got into a car accident. You hit a man and you killed him. I had a great childhood, nurturing, healthy household, besides the fact that, my parents, family, their friends kind of partied a lot. And one thing that I can remember that may have traumatized me a little bit was I found out that my dad was not my biological father, and I was very young, about 9 years old probably. So that swam around in my head for years until I actually asked my mom and my dad about it. Probably 7th grade, I started drinking alcohol a little bit. 8th grade, I hung out with my older siblings and their friends, so always at the parties. 15 years old, 14 or 15, I started smoking weed, tried cocaine, and I was just a partier. I might have a couple mornings I didn't remember things, but it was later on when I started having blackouts, like all the time. I mean, I would wake up the next morning and have people telling me stuff that I did I had no recollection of. That became a regular thing. When I was 22, I met this man in a bar. He was quite a bit older than me, but I thought he was cute. We ended up having a serious relationship. I was about 24 years old, and I ended up pregnant. And we got married when I was about 8 months along, and I still had an issue with drinking, of course. But the man I was with, he was very manipulative. There was a lot of sexual and mental and emotional abuse throughout this whole marriage. It got real bad when I was pregnant with our second child. And he really had a relationship with this other woman who they were just best friends. They were like brother and sister. So I just was dying inside. And after the pregnancies, I had postpartum depression. They are 19 months apart, so it was back to back with that. And after my second son, I just was losing it. I just was drinking constantly. It became the problem, like the biggest problem, and the shakes, all that. So I went to see a therapist. She prescribed me with some medications. Of course, I was still drinking on top of the medications. So then it was really, really bad. My husband worked away from home all week, every week. And so I'd be alone, home alone with two little babies by myself, going through all this depression. Finally, he wanted to separate because I couldn't quit drinking. I couldn't quit drinking. He wanted me to drink at the times he wanted me to drink, to do what he wanted me to do. But I could only do that when I was drinking. So after a while, when I couldn't quit drinking ever. The boys, it wasn't safe for them anymore. You make terrible decisions, especially when you're blacking out. I mean, it doesn't matter how much you love your children. If you get to a certain point, you just don't make good decisions. So we separated. I met another man through work because I was a stay-at-home mom. But after my husband and I separated, I had to go out and get a job. So then I met another man. We started hanging out. I had quit drinking for a little while, a couple months is all. But I still had all that, trauma going through. Like I just had no worth. I got into this other relationship. He was a good man. After a while, I introduced him to my kids, and he was good to them, very good to them. But still, I didn't do the recovering. I didn't work on the mental and emotional stuff that I had going on. So it got even worse, about 6:30 in the morning, I got into a car accident, and I woke up in the hospital. I didn't remember anything. The nurse said, "Do you know why you're here?" And I thought it was probably either a car accident or I had tried to kill myself, because I have had issues with that in the past, with depression. I said, "No, I don't." And she said, "Well, you hit a man and you killed him." And I went back out. I still don't remember anything. But at that point, I found out I was pregnant again with my daughter. And you would think that doing something like that and being pregnant, that you could quit, you know, but I couldn't. It had a hold of me so terribly that I couldn't do it. So I got sentenced about a year and 4 months later after the accident happened. They came and charged me finally. When I went in to sign the plea deal, because I had to come to an acceptance. I couldn't fight it. The DA said either she signs the plea deal or she can take it to court, and depending on how the judge feels that day, she could get 25 to life. So I accepted it. I hit my knees one day. I was just losing it, and hit my knees and cried out to God, I've tried this, I've tried that, and I couldn't do it myself. So if I am not meant to live this way the rest of my life, you're going to have to do it. And then it wasn't immediate, but slowly I just stopped wanting the alcohol. I just stopped wanting it. I started to accept what I had done, what I was about to have to do. I was about to have to leave my kids. So that day, when I went in to sign the plea deal, the judge had 30% eligibility for parole on paperwork. So I was going in there thinking 15 years and 100%, and just out of nowhere, 30% eligibility for parole appeared on there. And I know that's because I came to an acceptance of everything, So I did 5.5 years in prison. I mean, I wasn't 100% yet when I went in, but that is what changed everything for me. People think you're crazy to say prison was good for me, prison changed my life, but it can if you allow it to. I am the person I am today because of doing that prison sentence. I was able to take that time and be more independent. I was able to find myself, and that's one thing a lot of people don't do. They don't take the time to get to know themselves, or they don't want to go through those feelings. But that's what I did. And my now husband, stuck with me through the whole 5.5 years. I mean, he was loyal to a fault. And he brought my daughter to see me. She just turned a year old when I went in. So she did get to see me. A week from today, it'll be 10 years since the accident happened. Yes, I still have all that guilt. I'll always have all that guilt. But I've had to learn to not live in the past, and you have to go forward with your future. And what I can do now is to try to prevent anybody from doing that, or any family to have to go through any of this, victim or someone like me. I look forward to a future to see how many people that I can help come out of that or prevent from going into that. Recovery to me means loving myself. You have to put aside that pride, that ego, and ask for help and love yourself.
And what do you see for your future?
I see just helping as many people as possible. Anybody, I may not even know people that I'm helping. They might see this video, or they might see something else that I've done, written, and I could help them. I may have already helped a lot of people, and that's what I'm hopeful for. I pray that I can help as many people as possible, whether I know it or not.